Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Tech News While Driving on February 29th, 2016.
I got a ring.
And she got a ring. We're obviously not driving right now, but there is some news this morning that I want to talk about. There's a new Raspberry Pi, the Raspberry Pi 3. Now, this is at the heels of the Raspberry Pi Zero that came out late last year. But the nice thing about this one, although it's the same physical size as the Raspberry Pi 2, this actually has some upgraded pieces, including a 64-bit Broadcom chip, SoC chip, an upgraded ARM Cortex A53, and it has built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth 4.0. There's a bunch of other specs about it. I'm not a Raspberry Pi maker to any effect, but this is kind of cool. So $35. I'm sure it's already sold out. And so this is just bigger, I guess, well, not physically bigger, but definitely better in the world of making and microcomputing. And if you ever wanted to build with Raspberry Pi, this is your chance to do it the latest and greatest. It looks like, according to some leaks, that Jay-Z might actually be selling Tidal, his music streaming service, to the likes of Samsung. Now, if you guys don't remember Tidal was actually founded in 2014, and then 2015 Jay-Z bought it as a means to an end for artists themselves to own the streaming service. And it was basically a streaming service for the artist, by the artist. But the problem is, one of the biggest controversies about that was when he did the launch of Tidal, the new Tidal, he had a bunch of his friends on stage, which are already multi-million-dollar artists. Like, honestly, they don't necessarily need to worry about the chump change of residuals that they're getting from the music streaming services. But nevertheless, they pushed on with Tidal and were claiming that it had like high fidelity sound and very, very close to that of the Ponyo player, I guess, if you will. I wonder if I can get in through here. Oh, maybe not. So which side is my... Oh, is he trying to back in? He is. Is she trying to go in that way? Oh. Yep, he's trying to go in. Alright, well this is interesting. So yeah, that's basically it. If there's... I think I'll just go to the Chevron. I've got... Like I said, this is true tech news while driving. Can I wonder if I can get over there. Yeah, I think I'll just go to the Chevron down that way. I think I should be okay. Oh shit. Okay. Alright. I should get a Costco. I don't like going to Costco at this late hour. Oh, there's a Shell up that way. I'll just go to that Shell. I mean, well, there was this Shell here too, so I don't know what I'm complaining about. All right, yeah. So Samsung has not confirmed nor commented whatsoever on these rumors, but could this be good for Samsung? I don't know. I mean, the Samsung Milk music service. I mean, that is probably what they're going to be gobbling up if they do buy Tidal. I really don't see it. I don't see this really being a moneymaker for Tidal or Samsung. I just think it's, it would be cool because Samsung does do a lot of celebrity endorsements when it comes to their consumer products, especially with like their Galaxy lines and things like that. But for them to buy this and say, unless they were to drop the price at the standard $9.99, which they can definitely eat that cost. They're still going up against the giants like Apple Music, Apple Radio, and Spotify, obviously, and to a certain degree Google, and even Amazon. Because if you've got Amazon Prime, you've got all of that. There's no additional subscription. That's what I use, actually, to be honest with you. I completely forgot that my wife's subscription that she signed us up for gets us Amazon Music. So go check that out. If you're an Amazon Prime subscriber and you're not using their streaming music service, you're not taking full advantage of your Amazon Prime subscription. And you should. There we go. 233. Jesus. Thank you, California. In the news today, Microsoft has announced that today is the day where you can go ahead and pre-order and slap down $3,000 for your developer preview of the HoloLens kit. Inside the kit will be included the HoloLens, of course, a carrying case, a Bluetooth clicker, a microfiber cloth to wipe the lenses, because apparently it's very important that the lenses do not get smudged, which is kind of obvious, and a few other things. But if you have $3,000 and you are not a approved developer, or rather incorrect grammar, an approved developer, you can't get it. So you have to be an approved developer. So what does this mean? This means that Microsoft is really dishing this out to people that are serious about augmented reality. They're serious about mixed videos, mixed reality. They're serious about this over VR, or maybe both. I mean, Microsoft has invested a lot into VR as well too, kind of behind the lens. You know, turn the phrase, if you will. But yeah, I think this is good. It's kind of like what Google did with Google Glass, although Google Glass was open to everybody, and if you had $1,500, then you could get it. And that, I think, in my opinion, that was one of its biggest downfalls, because every yokel that had this kind of disposable income was buying it, and they were only using it for a very limited kind of methodology, which was, you know, just kind of live streaming or taking pictures. And Google Glass definitely is much more than that. You can see that in Android Wear. But I think with this thing that they're doing with, I don't know what this car is doing. I really don't know what this car is doing. I'm going to go in here and avoid what this car is doing. I'm just trying to get into a parking space. Darn it. But I think the fact that they put such a high barrier to entry and you have to be approved for this, it's going to be a good thing overall. So if you're an approved developer and you're going to be developing on HoloLens, please let us know. We would love to check out the application if there's any kind of means for us to check out the application without HoloLens, at least the video demo of your app. Last thing before I hit the gym. Never show your daughter, who's 3, how to get to the emojis on your phone. And then show her how to do that on another phone so she can send you one emoji at a time every 30 seconds. So Google's back in the news today, and something happened for the very first time, at least from what Google is reporting. One of Google's autonomous vehicles, the Lexus that they have, actually got into an accident, and they're not claiming fault, but they're also not saying it was the other guy. For the other 12, 13 accidents that they've had in the past, Google's always claimed the fault of the other person in the accident, but it's never been Google's fault. This time, it's not Google's fault, but it's also not the bus's fault. So essentially, here's what happened. The autonomous vehicle was in the right-hand lane and needed to get around some sandbags that were in the road. And by doing so, it had to veer into the center lane. Now, in the center lane, there was a public bus going at about 15 miles an hour. The driver in the Google car did see the bus in the rearview mirror, but stated that he thought either the bus would slow down because the Google car was veering into the lane, or the Google car may do something on its own volition like it's supposed to. But well, at the end of it, the bus did run into the, or I guess the Google car did run into the bus, because it was, it seems like the Google car went into the bus itself. And the bus was going 15 miles an hour, whereas the Google car was only going at 2 miles an hour. So nothing major happened, no major damage, maybe a couple of $1,000s in damage, since it is a prototype vehicle. But with regard to human life, nobody got hurt at all. So what does this mean? This means that Google finally, whether they admit that they had a problem or that they made a mistake, they made a mistake. And at the end of it, we might come to find out that it wasn't the autonomous I guess the autonomous part of the car that was driving it. Maybe it actually was the Google driver driving the car. But whatever the case may be, this is good data. You know, no matter if you're Google or Apple or Audi or BMW or whoever you are, if you're following autonomous drivers and this whole technology, you know, up until now, Google has been kind of the public champion in this, at least here in Silicon Valley. And we haven't really seen problems, per se, from Google. So now we actually have a problem that they have to overcome. It's similar to the trolley problem, which I think goes along the lines of there's a trolley of people, and you're going down the hill, and you're going toward the trolley of people, and then there's also a child, on the sidewalk. So out of safety precaution, do you veer away from the kid because it's a child, or do you kill the kid and save all the people on the trolley? So this isn't exactly the exact same thing, especially at low miles, but it's something to consider. What do you think? So in addition to Microsoft's initial announcement and pre-order for the HoloLens, today is also the day where you can pre-order the HTC Vive for the consumers. This is going to be $799 US, and I mean, in my experience of both Vive and the Oculus, I've got to say the additional $200 is well beyond worth it. And plus, not only are you getting the headset, but you also get the 2 wireless controllers, which currently the Oculus does not come with. You get 2 lighthouses so you can map out the room, and you get this little jumbo box which basically connects everything to your computer. Now, it's $799, $800, let's just round up. You still have to have a really good computer to be able to do this. So if you're the average consumer with your standard $400, $500 desktop computer, or even laptop with maybe a Radeon graphics card, because they are out there, you might not really get the full effect and full experience and I guess the full capabilities of what the Vive really is. So yeah, you would definitely need to upgrade your system, which, you know, Oculus has their own kind of pre-built systems, but we'll just go ahead and say $1,000. So you're gonna have to go and spend another $1,000 on a really good system to be able to support these VR headsets. At least that's how they are right now. And you know, they have minimum specifications like a 980 GTX graphics card from NVIDIA, and you know, I think 8 gigs of RAM is like the minimum requirement, but I would definitely go with at least 12 or 16 if you can. I think at, you know, an entry level of $1,800, essentially, let's go ahead and call it that, is still good. This is definitely for the early adopters, you know, but as much as you would want to buy something like this for your kid or your nephew or whoever for Christmas or birthday or quinceañera, what have you, you just have to be very, you know, aware that the first iterations of these things are not going to be cheap, just like anything else. 4K TVs, you know, things of that nature. So don't fret. In a couple of years, maybe 3-4 years down the line, we can see some of these things maybe get down to $400, $500, maybe even $300. And then, respectively, the computers that would be able to support them also could possibly come down, not in specification necessarily. I think they would still need the higher end specs, but just the overall cost of the computers. Now, don't quote me on that, but that's just something I think, you know, as time moves on, we've definitely seen computers that were $3,000 5 years ago, now for the capability of what they do, only costs $1,000. So if you need a computer that is $1,000, 3 years from now, those computers might be maybe $500 and a little bit lower barrier to entry for the average consumer. Comparing that to HoloLens, you're still looking at $3,000 for HoloLens if you're approved. And you know, the HoloLens seems to be that you don't need to connect it to a computer, although some people are claiming that you still need a computer of some sort, which I don't really agree with. But again, I haven't really tested HoloLens since build, so I don't know. But I still think that either one is still, you know, at the prices they are right now, they're fine, because you're gonna get the serious people to develop, and that's really what you want. Again, taking it back to the whole Google Glass thing, they may or may not have had a vetting method to say, yes, you're worthy of giving us $1,500, or no, you're not. It seemed like everybody that had $1,500 and said, yes, I'm a developer, I'm going to go ahead and develop for this, went ahead and did it, and no one really developed for it. They just played around with it and got kicked out of bars. So I don't know. What do you think is going to win? VR, AR, and in the VR space, do you think HTC Vive or the PlayStation, the VR is going to really do it well because there's so many PlayStations that are out there? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching today's Tech News While Driving. We're going to go ahead and continue on with this. Really appreciate everything, all the support. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and follow us on all the major social networks, including Facebook, Twitter, and now on Instagram. You guys take care of yourselves, and we will talk to you in the next one. Bye.